When did you start drinking?
First experience of drink. See, when I grew up, my mum and dad were young, so I grew up with fun parties. So the first time I took a sip of alcohol was probably after one of the parties when everybody was asleep. I picked up ends of cans, but the first time I got drunk was in P7. I stole a half bottle of vodka off the younger people who was out street drinking and put it into a wee Vitazy bottle, and it was more or less straight, and drunk it and thought I nearly had to get pumped. Not enough never caught me, my dad, but that was the first experience with alcohol, P7.
You were caught?
Wasn't caught, my mum and dad was on a night out. So my muckers got me in the house and I just went in and slept it off. So that was my first experience with alcohol. My whole life, I've been around it. My mum and dad was a young man and dad. My mum had my brother when she was 15, had me when she was 19. And my dad was 20 when they had me. So they were still sort of in their youth and they still enjoyed their drink, and my whole family, they all drunk together. So it was just right around it all the time, like. And I mind when I was away now, I used to look at my family members and be like, fuck, I can't wait to do that when I'm older. And I ended up doing it then, like, and it took me. But I, being on around that environment since a young age, it was a big partial to be how I ended up becoming an addict, like. I just was like, even before the addiction to alcohol and drugs and stuff started, I grew up with a lot of violence and seeing a lot of violence. My dad would have fought and he hit boys in front of me before, and I heard my family members, my granddad used to tell me about my mad uncles and all. I was just obsessed, and then from a young age, my dad used to let me watch proper violent films like Chopper Reed. I don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but it was this madman in Australia, and he was my idol. And I was at primary school, so growing up I had this, my inspirations was these big gangsters and murderers. And when I came into my teenage years then, like my dad, my brother, he was done MMA and kickboxing and all, and he was fighting a couple of fights in the street and all, and he was well known for it. But I mind coming in one night, my dad was drunk, and he turned around and he said to me, no way you're not out making a name for yourself. He was drunk when he said it, like he probably didn't even know what he was saying. But I mean, going out the week after and slapping somebody, and the power I felt off it was like that adrenaline and all. I was like, whoa. So I was running around fighting all the time, but I would say it was out of order what I was doing. No, I was hitting people for nothing at times, no, but I wouldn't have went overboard. And my brother, he was stabbed when he was 16, and I was 13. I was with him at night and went over to get a tracksuit on because he was fighting me a boy. And you let your man up every time. Your man went up the house and grabbed a knife. An older boy from Craigan, he was a man, like, and he came down when I was over in the house and tried to shake Ivan's hand and just started stabbing him. And the only thing I took from that was that Eamon let him up. So I mean, after that happened, every time I got in a fight, I just kicked, stomped, done really, really awful stuff. I really hurt people. Like, now if they were knocked out, I still would have hit them. And then in my teenage years, I was full of hit. I became a skinhead, and with big red boots, Dr. Mertens, and the bomber jackets, had a big crowd of fellas with me. And the first time I was ever arrested was for a hate crime. Like, me and my muckers wrote 6 million Jews wasn't enough on the side of Millennium Forum, with swastikas everywhere. Didn't even know what we were preaching, didn't even know what we were doing. It was just complete full of hate, like. But as I go on now, I thought that didn't affect me in any way. And coming into recovery, it has massively affected me. Everything I've done, I thought internally in my mind I got away with. That I fuck. Still to this day, I still when I used to knock people out and hurt people, the noises they used to make and stuff that came up, like, and it was really, really awful. Just even looking at it, like the pain I inflicted on people. And then this is not even in the heavily in, what would you say, involved with drink and drugs yet. I had a couple of beer in, but then once I was 15, am I alright? Do you keep talking just? Aye.
Take a drink whenever you want to.
When I was 15 then, or 14, I started taking meth. I came out, I got meth off a boy in Craigham one time, and I was a Monkey Madness, do you mind that was out? So that was my first sort of introduction to drugs. I was young, and with that, you couldn't sleep. It was a mad drug. I used to just sit in my room staring at the ceiling. My dad hadn't a clue what was going on. I was too young to even think I was taking drugs yet. And then I moved on to bangers then. I started taking ecstasy. I sort of would say, I was 15 then. Sort of say with ecstasy, the madness nearly stopped. You know, it was more or less you were just full of love nearly. Like, and even the drinking sort of went less heavy. You were just drinking to get on the bangers, like. And once the bangers was in, you didn't even know when to have a drink. But then I started in Foy Meats, and when I was 16, I started working then. I got introduced to cocaine, and that was a game changer. So it was £40 a bag when I used to get it, and a boy I used to get it off and explained to me about wits and about getting half ounces, quarters, and I was just like, right, if I bought 40 a bag every time, it was just costing me too much money. So I started getting wit and then sorting my muckers out with it, and so I didn't have to pay for it then, end up. And once the cocaine came in, I fell in love with it. I mean, fell in love with what way it made me feel. It made me feel more confident in alcohol, and it just took me to different levels at the start. And then as the years go on with cocaine, it gets stronger and stronger. And once it got stronger, it was game over for me, like. But through my whole drinking career from the very beginning, I would say I could count 5 times what was any good memories, and the rest was complete nuts. Like I've done me and Eamon got into a fight one time in the living room, like, and I hate even talking about it. But as I say, I want to spread my message to as much people as I can. We're getting into a fight, and Eamon's a good fighter, and he slipped a punch, and my ma was trying to break it up, and I punched my ma in the face and gave her a black eye. And I mean, that was the first time I ever had a suicidal thought. I went, fuck me, I went out there, and I couldn't live with myself. But it didn't stop me drinking, and I mind going, I was thinking, oh Jesus, I was the first to get the ball rolling with suicidal thoughts. I was like, look where this is leading me to.